Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. No one's going to do this. Play everything on the computer, everything in the arcade, every console, and every handheld. Well, you're going to find it here. We're currently checking out the games released in the beginning of December 1982. And we were last on the Atari home computer playing Baja Buggies. Let's see what our next game is. Our next game is basketball on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. In other regions, this console is known as lots of different names. But this is in North America, or sometimes it could have been Europe too. But let's check out and play basketball. All the cool consoles are doing basketball. It's already on the Magnavox Odyssey. Atari 2600 has basketball. Magnavox Odyssey 2 and television. So why not? You got to get basketball on this console as well. This one's a reconstructed box that we're checking out. This one's done by Screen Scraper, I believe. So everything you're seeing here isn't a real scan of basketball, but they are giving us a little bit of what the picture looks like. They just threw all kinds of things in the front. The Olympic rings, basketball, people jumping. There's like 4 or 5 people in the air. So maybe they haven't even played basketball. After we play this game, you may think to yourself, I don't really know what basketball is yet. But we'll see what happens. This one is the 23rd game we've played for this home console. This console only has 23 games right now. It is the little console that could. The Arcadia 2001. In Japan, it's known as the Bandai Arcadia. So, because Bandai is the one that brought it out. Let's flip it over the back. You can see, yes, it is reconstructed, just has a few screenshots, and it says 2-player only game. Oh man, I better get my other controller ready because I don't have anybody else to play with for this one. Let's check out the other artwork we have for basketball. Just basketball. This marks the 17th video game we've played that is basketball. So here we go. What is this basketball going to be like? All we got is the box, and there's the system, the Arcadia 2001 by Emerson. It has a digital joystick with a number pad, very similar to a television number pad. The CreativeVision had, well, CreativeVision has more of a keyboard. It was all the rage when it first released. And there's the example of the cartridge that we're going to be popping into play, and a screenshot. And that's about all we have. We do have the manual for basketball. Tell us how to play. So this one is, you can see a different region that I was able to find a scan for the manual because it was found in lots of different places. But this console is a very obscure, rare one. I have never played on the Emerson Arcadia 2001 myself, or any other models or variants. And I've been to the National Video Game Museum. So I'd like to see what the console is like but for itself. And we're going to play a sports game, so that's going to be even stranger. All right, let's see how to play some basketball. The annual basketball championship title is at stake. They put story in for basketball. It sounds like we're playing on the Atari now. The whistle blows. The game begins. The ball's tossed in the midcourt. The player for each team jumps up and grabs the ball. Alas, you've lost the... They're really telling us a story? I'll let you read that at your leisure. The game objective is gain more points than your opponent. Yes, we know. Here's how you get started. Connect everything up. Make sure you insert the cartridge like this. That's how the cartridge goes. They don't mention anything about blowing into the cartridge. That doesn't even exist right now. So the hand controllers are going to have an overlay. You have to have this overlay because you cannot play this. It says the joystick controls the direction of movement of the player after the corresponding button has been pressed. So you have to push the button on the numpad before you can move the joystick around. At least it says that here. So I'm just letting you know you have a left-hand controller and a right-hand controller that have to have the overlay, and you have to have 2 people to play. It explains how to start. You push A on the console. It displays the court. Then you push start to initiate the game. The ball's dropped. Just drop down in the middle of the court. Whatever team receives the ball starts as the offending team. So it just randomly comes down in the middle of it. Yes, James, it is complicated. At least the controls are. To identify players, each one will be in turn selecting a flicker. You have 3 players on each side, and you can choose for them to dribble, run, shoot, or pass the ball. And so this is what you're doing with the overlay. You have to have the overlay to know which button to push. It's going to explain here how to do defending teams, colliding with the ball, but there isn't really a free way to move around the court, and I'll explain when we get in the game. It is very, very interesting. It explains what penalties are like and how the game ends. It'll be over when 12 minutes of playing time has elapsed, and we're not even going to give it 12 minutes of time. I'm letting you know now. You start the game, and then scores revealed at the top of the screen. And then, as usual, this manual is showing you an operational flow diagram. There you go, kids. Helps you with video game programming, I guess. All right, so after that, let's pop in and play some basketball. This is by UA Limited, published by Emerson in the beginning of December 1982. It's time to play basketball. All right, so this one, if I just push A on the did I not do the right one? There you go. If you push A on the... It's not responding now. There we go. If you push A on the console, simple as that, everyone. Then it goes into the first screen. And then from here, you can decide if you want to, when you're ready to play, and you push start. The ball drops down, and it just randomly goes into whoever's hand is available. Now, you notice I just passed the ball back and forth. I don't have the ability using the joysticks to move. So if I'm using both joysticks, wiggling the digital joystick, nothing is happening. The players aren't moving on the court. We played another sports game that we've seen on the Emerson before, and there's been other titles that have not been utilizing the joystick freely. In other words, the Emerson is really not selling video games very well because your own joystick doesn't respond. You're having to use the keypad for a lot of stuff. So anyway, for example, this one type of game, I am moving the joystick around, and the players are not moving. I have to hit the right button on the keypad to move them around. Gosh, it is still not letting me move, even when I'm trying all of the combinations. Oh, wait. I was able to move. Oh, you can only move them in one direction? That is terrible. Can I do a different one? No, we'll just pass it. Pass the ball. Let's do like that. Because you only have the option to pass the ball or shoot the ball or move. And if you move, did he just go, he just walked completely off the side of the screen. And see right here, this is the other thing. You have the chance to move your player, as I'm doing with the yellow team, and the player just moves back and forth. The limitations of this sports game are baffling because you'd have to read the manual, understand what the controls are, and then attempt to play the basketball game, and it's way too complicated than it needs to be. Intellivision already had a very complicated basketball, but they did it fairly well to play NBA basketball. This one takes it to another level, and unnecessarily so. It is on a very small cartridge, though, so I'll kind of give it that, but there's really not a lot that you can do in the game as far as freedom of movement. It's not easy to pick up and play this game of basketball. Did I just completely... My guy can move only in one direction? That's so weird. He's only allowed to go only on one side. Oh, man. So it is another title, though, that you need to have the overlays on the keypad to help you know which button to push for each player. But even then, you're so limited in the number of moves that players can play. I thought I was going to actually shoot and make a point. I can't even make a point here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reset the whole thing. Just say, nope. Let's just pop the cartridge out. Let's get very frustrated. We paid full price for this in December 1982. And then pop it back in and try it again. Yeah, it is a little behind, especially since all the other titles we've seen so far. Some of the best basketball we've seen so far on all home consoles has been basketball, or on all systems, has been basketball on the Atari home computer, NBA basketball that I mentioned on the Intellivision, and Atari basketball that we've seen in the arcade. All those are much better examples of this one. All right, so here we go. Let's go in. Against my better judgment. And it just randomly lands in someone else's hand. And if I want to try to go for a shot, come on. You can pass, and then, oh, go for it. Go for the shot. But notice my players aren't moving. You don't really have the freedom to move around. Looking over the chat, I'm sure everyone's scratching their heads thinking, why? How is this even a thing? Oh, he didn't even make... I think it's doing the same shot every time. Hold the button down, right? Maybe it has to go using the joystick? No, it has the same command. I feel like I'm just so restricted from doing anything that I want to. So if I wanted to be fair, it is using only a very small cartridge size. It's 4 kilopower, which is about the same size as the Atari VCS before bank switching. So it's kind of impressive they got this to run. But you noticed looking at this and me attempting to play the game, it's very rough around the edges. It has a lot to be desired. All right, so we do have the ability to control multiple characters, switching back, but very loosely. The other sports we played so far on the Arcadia 2001 have actually fared a little bit better than this one. Football was above average football game whenever we first saw it. Same thing with baseball for all the games you could play on home consoles. Bowling, though, was very similar to this one. It was only operated with the keypad, and I don't understand the reason why. I will give it credit that it's not the worst basketball we've seen so far. Having played everything and seen every video game up to this point, there is handheld basketball games that are worse than this. One example is the one on the Intex Selecta game. That basketball, I would say, is worse than this basketball. And you would learn this if you spend enough time, but I wouldn't want to even spend enough time for it. I'm looking over in the chat. Yeah, Odyssey 2 games, yeah, I would say it looked better than this too. And that's all I really want to show for basketball. I wanted you to experience the pain. If you had bought basketball for this system, and now you understand why this is only the 23rd game on this home console, and why this console didn't really fare that well in the console wars. All right, so of all the games you could play on all home consoles right now, basketball is very, very low. I'm thinking in the bad range at least, maybe even lower than that. Looking over in the chat, I got a half star, 1.5. There's a 1.5 rating, and then 1 star because it's not even in black and white. Nice, Brad. And then I got some people saying broken. Of all the games you can play on all home consoles, if you think it's in the 1-star range, you call it a broken game. If you think it's around the 2-star range, oh no, Curtis, great question. I tried this on both emulators that I have. Both emulators respond and do the exact same controls. It is possible that the dump could be incorrect or something wrong with that, but most of the time I get fairly good results with the Arcadia WinArcadia emulator, and it's still the exact same thing was happening. So if you have any other insights, let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to go with, of all the games you could play on all home consoles, a 1.5-star rating. I won't call it broken quite yet, just because it may be my functionality not having the overlay on the keypad, but I'll still say bad of all the games you could play on a home console. Basketball is rough. Even if you don't like sports, you would stay far away from this one. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. All right, we're still going to hang out in North America and play on the Sinclair, or Timex Sinclair 1000. This is Batcage. Never heard of this one. Let's check it out together. This one looks like the generic Timex Sinclair 1000 boxes. Batcage, you only need 2K of RAM. That's right, this is the budget system. The Sinclair's ZX81, or in North America, Timex Sinclair 1000, this is the 92nd game that we've seen for this tiny little calculator computer. And the 4th time we've seen a game by the Timex Computer Corporation. They've done games like Backgammon and Big Flap Attack. So let's see what Batcage is all about. Do we have any other artwork besides the box or the cassette case? No, we just have a screenshot. We do have the manual, though. Tell us how to play Batcage. It's a furious little game that'll really put your reflexes to the test. Capture as many bats as you can in the bat cage while fighting off the relentless attacks of other bats trying to rescue them. Well, they're being very literal. It definitely is a bat cage. It shows us how to play. We're going to be a bat flapping about, we'll see a bat flapping at the top of the screen and 8 bat eggs bouncing around the field. At the bottom of the screen is the bat cage. Inside the cage is a bar you can use to beat back attacking bats. Sounds like this is a tongue twister. And capture bat eggs and carry them back to the cage to hatch. In the upper right-hand corner is the playfield and scoreboard. The object is to keep as many newly hatched bats as you can in the cage, driving off the attacking bats that are trying to free the bats, and of course put the greatest number of points on the scoreboard. It has some tips right here. This is the inside sleeve of the cassette case. It has some loading instructions. It explains what the scoring and how that works. And then it says, happy bat hunting, with a few suggestions. So I'm very curious. Let's pop in that cassette and play Batcage. This is by Thomas J. Burke, released in the beginning of December 1982. This is the very first and only video game by Thomas J. Burke. If you're out there, Thomas, let us know if you made any other games. All right, so here's where we're going to go. The game just goes right into... It actually doesn't go this fast. It did it for us. But if you were in December 1982, it would take a long time to load. But you go into the game, and I'm using the cursor keys 5, 6, 7, and 8. I have a little paddle down here in the bottom bat cage you can see right here. And as I move the cursor keys around, it moves the paddle around. So the object of the game is, if you look at the top of the screen, there is a bat floating around, not the other 1 pixel dots. The 1 pixel dots are the eggs, bat eggs. The 3 pixel at the dot flapping around is the bat. If you don't see the bat, then use your imagination a little bit more, and remember it's December 1982. So what you do is you move the paddle around, and as you're moving the paddle, you're supposed to find one of the dots and collect it. Let's get one. There we go. And then come to the cage, release it, and look, I made a bat inside the cage. Once I do, though, the bat at the top of the screen starts flying around, and he's trying to get the bat or release it, and I have to bounce the bat off. And if I do it enough times, or take long enough, look, the bat loses interest, and then it stays at the top of the screen, and I've successfully captured a bat in the cage. This is, I've never explained any game that is quite like this. This is a unique, new thing we've ever done for any game, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I just got another egg, I put 2 bats in, and look, the bat is now coming. He's trying to get me. Don't adjust your audio on the Timex Sinclair 1000. There is no sound. So now I'm just deflecting the bat as it bounces around, and then it returns to the top of the screen. So I love this. This is another one of the games on this very small calculator computer that is very surprising to me. All right, let's put another bat down there. All right, here he comes. He's trying to come in again. You're trying to hatch as many as you can, and notice that the point counter in the top right of the screen is going up, because the longer I can keep the bats going in the cage while the other bat's trying to dive down. Oh, I thought he got it. Never mind. I get a higher and higher score. It is original. It is kind of like things, at least the presentation-wise, like something we've seen before. I'm just deflecting the bat. Yeah, very, very interesting and just so weird. Oh, I got one. So you can see he pulled one bat away. Let's see if we can keep him up there. And you have to bat the bat away from the bat cage. Points are still going up. We're looking pretty good. All I had to do to release the bat inside the cage is push the number 1 key on the keyboard. All right, so I want to pause there. Now that we have a little reprieve, you can see all the bats that are going around the cage. If you're just now joining us on Chronologically Gaming, I'm sure you're confused, so you might want to just watch the show back on the explanation. So this is essentially a ball and paddle video game. This is the most original ball and paddle video game, or Pong-like game, we've ever seen. It is the 192nd ball and paddle video game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, and it's doing something brand new. It is not Pong, it's not Breakout, it's not Avalanche, it's not Circus or Clowns or Deflection. This is doing something that's not copying any of those things. I'm still a paddle, you know, moving around, and there's still dots like Pong, but this is doing something completely different, and I love it. So we've seen Deflection, we've seen games like Tube Frenzy or Bumper Ball. Those are some games that also take this idea, the ball and paddle genre, and do something new. But this is out there. This is like Pachinko on the Magnavox Odyssey 2. It's doing something very different. It's like we're having to protect the bats, and then it turns into a Pong-like game. All right, let's get another egg, pop it in there, and go. And you see points go up, and then deflect the bat away. And then as the game progresses, they end up adding more bats at the top. So right now I only have to bat 1 bat away, but then, oh, did I lose him? Yeah, I think I went back in the cage because I wasn't paying attention and the bat got in. If the bat does, then he goes to the top of the screen, and then eventually it adds more and more, and the difficulty increases. So it's arcade style, but it's just very, very bizarre. Yes, Ubicore, I couldn't have said it better myself. This game is totally batty. The only downside I would say is it's keyboard controlled only on the Timex Sinclair 1000. I don't believe this was released in other regions. It was only here in North America. But you have to use that really tiny membrane keyboard to play the game. That would probably be the downside to Bat Cage. All right, so I'm intrigued. I'm interested. If I would, I would say this is an above average video game for all the games you could play on the home computer. But you can see how simplistic it is, graphically and gameplay wise. Because of the keyboard controls, I won't say above average with 3.5 stars. I'm thinking more around the average range because of the keyboard controls. How many puns do we have over there? I got pretty cagey response from Curtis. I love it. Yeah, interesting. Keep the puns coming. That's so fun. Yeah, there we go. Paul's saying 4 stars if it's only on this system, and yes, I would say so as well. 3.5 or 4 only for the Sinclair or Timex Sinclair 1000. 3.5 from Barclay. That's very, very nice. And then Brad saying 3. I'd say 3.5, but I'm going to keep it at 3 stars because of the keyboard controlled only. This is going against every other computer video game that's out there. This is cool, but you can understand the simplicity behind it. And imaginative. I love it. All right, after that game, let's see what our next game is. But first, what's that on the TV?
Hey, Louis, you buy a video game.
All right.
Ooh,
hey,
cool,
the
dude.
Atari 2600. Oh, news, Louis. Check out this new Gemini system from Coleco. It plays all the same games.
It's about the same time.
And Gemini comes with Donkey Kong.
Hey, this joystick plays better than Atari. And you
Check
get a
out the
built-in
controller.
paddle. And coupons worth $25 for all these arcade cartridges. Okay, Gemini. Smart, Louis. Smart.
I know, Gemini. The new game in town from Coleco.
Wow, you saw that? That is the brand new Coleco Gemini console that's being released right now, and you bet there's lawsuits that are going to happen from this. The console is not something we're really going to play ourselves because the Coleco Gemini was basically only playing everything that was available on the Atari and the other systems. Coleco has already tried making an expansion module on the ColecoVision that allowed you to play Atari home cartridges, home console cartridges. And this is their standalone console. And it had a very short life. You can understand it was pulled from shelves pretty quick because it is essentially a video game console that's allowing you to play all the cartridges like if you had the expansion module. Awesome. I've never had a chance to play it myself. I love, yeah, Charlie saying lawsuit time. You bet it was. Bermuda Triangle is the game we're going to be seeing now for the Atari VCS. Or, the brand new Coleco Gemini, if you can get it before it's pulled from the shelves. Let's check out Bermuda Triangle, starting with the box. All right. Excellent. Yes, it looks like we're going to Bermuda, or at least underwater, which is a nice touch. And they're still making games for the Atari? That seems surprising because this is the 185th Atari game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. And it's by Data Age, the 7th time we've seen this company. And this is the last game that Data Age is going to release in 1982. So let's hope they go out with a bang. Flip it over on the back, and we can see it's a mini sub that's going to venture into perilous waters of the Bermuda Triangle. Limited warranty, blah, blah, blah. Can you survive the legendary sea monsters, powerful laser beams, explosive mines, and other dangers of the deep? I don't know if I'm sold yet. Tell us more. We have the actual scan of the box and the reconstructed box. Old and grungy, and then brand new, or sort of brand new. We also have the ad you would have seen in magazines at the time, and this one says that if you get 100,000 points, we'll send you the free secret manuscript about the Bermuda Triangle. If you get 500,000 points, you can receive a free replica artifact from the underwater city, which means it's another video game with a contest behind it. This is the 15th video game that has a video game contest tied into it. Oh, no way. Yeah, and Paul's bringing up the releases of the Atari because I said, oh, they're still making Atari games? Yes, even now, at the time of this recording, in the future, they are still making Atari. It is never going to stop. There's the example of the cartridge for the Bermuda Triangle video game. See, Data Age held a contest where you could win a free secret manuscript, and if you scored the 500,000 points or 100,000 points, but they didn't include real money like they did with some of the other titles we've seen. Real money winning from video games is where it's at. So there you go. That is some of the artwork for Bermuda Triangle. Here's the manual. Tell us how to play Bermuda Triangle, the Deep Sea Survival Basic Manual. Have a little story over on the top right side. In a mysterious spot of water near the Atlantic seacoast known as the Bermuda Triangle. So at this point, we've already seen video games that have the Bermuda Triangle. This is the 3rd time we've seen a video game that's done this. We've seen the Bermuda Experience that was on the Atari home computer, and Devil's Triangle that was on the Dragon 32. So Bermuda Triangle video games, this would be the 3rd we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. And watch out of nowhere, laser beams rip past your vessel. We have deep sea expedition objectives guiding our mini sub, collecting as many priceless artifacts as possible. I was going to say they're giving us objectives. Our main objective is shoot everything. See, he explains at the top of the screen, we're going to have a research ship that can deliver treasures from the bottom of the ocean. The sub is what we're going to be driving. There's some of the valuable artifacts that we'll find at the bottom of the screen, and there's everything we have to blow up. Giant squids, man-eating sharks, aquatic drones, explosive mines, Bermuda bombs, only found within the city's purpose, still unknown. Don't try to pick it up. It has a trigger that'll be blowing everyone up. And then we have also enemy ships. And this explains how to set up your game. Make sure the console's turned off and so forth. We have the joysticks. If you want to play two-player, it's hot seat arcade style, so you don't get to play at the same time. And there really isn't game variations. I don't want to call it because you can see the game variation is just if there's going to be the laser beam or not. It's really not as compelling. You got to have those game variations to really enjoy the game. And then down here it explains the score, what you're seeing on the screen. I'll zoom in a little bit right there. You can see the man-eating. That's a lot of stuff on the screen. Actually, I don't know if we're going to see that much at once, but we'll see what happens when we get in the game. We get bonus points every time that we collect an artifact from the underwater city and bring it to the surface. And it explains how to do that. If you go to the very bottom, it'll make a tractor beam, and I'll explain when we get there. And it has some underwater sea dive strategies as well. Yeah, and there it is about the laser beam. If you're in game modes 1 and 2, if you reach a score of 10,000 points, there's going to be an intrusion detection system that's going to activate, and the underwater city will become ablaze with multicolored lights. At the same time, the city's laser defense system will turn on, and occasionally a laser beam will vaporize one of the ships on the surface. So if you're in that path, you'll get vaporized. So that's the only game variation, is if there's going to be laser beams at 10,000 points or not. Yeah, there you go. So I want the laser beam to come and play after 10,000 points. Maybe we'll turn it on and see what happens before that. So for other versions, I also have the hacked version, which is called Yellow Submarine. Very, very quaint. Let's play the first one. Let's pop in that cartridge and play Bermuda Triangle by Data Age, published later by Game World, the beginning of December 1982. This is it. Oh man, hear the sounds? Sounds so good. This game is already moving really fast. So the attract mode allows you to move around like some of the Atari games do, but you have to hit reset to go in, and let's do it. Oh yes, hear the sound effects. Check out that scroll at the bottom. That's pretty nice. So we have at the top of the screen, that's the sub we need to return our artifacts back to. But essentially, you're just going to be blowing stuff up, shooting. I can hold down the red button of the Atari VCS joystick and just have an auto fire. I also got a little bit of freedom too. It's not sticking me on one side of the screen like it does with Scramble. I can move around a little freely, blow up all of the forms of life in the Bermuda Triangle. We don't care about those. But if you want to get the extra bonus points, look at the bottom of the screen and collect some of the artifacts. You can see I can pick a tractor beam and pick up... Oh, nope, don't pick up those. That would be one of the bombs they said to avoid. If you look in the top left of the screen, that is the number of lives we have left. All right, we're passing by some. Let's see if we can pick up one of them. The tractor beam really reminds me... There, I got one. And you see it returned to the top, got some extra bonus points. But the tractor beam reminds me of Cosmic Art in a little bit. And yeah, the look of this is really similar. Someone mentioned Space Jockey. I see Brad over there. Yeah, it does kind of remind me of that. The ship is very nice and colorful and is animated, which is a nice touch. So if you don't even want to pick up artifacts or get extra bonus points, you don't have to. There's really not a time constraint. It's just staying alive and shooting everything in your path. So this is a scrolling shoot 'em up. And man, oh man, scrolling shoot 'em ups are becoming very, very popular. This is the 174th scrolling shoot 'em up we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. It's the 18th we've seen on home consoles so far, and it's the 9th scrolling shoot 'em up we've seen for the Atari 2600. Some of the good ones that we've already seen to this point have been Chopper Command, Defender, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Vanguard, and Space Jockey that someone mentioned. Worm War 1 is another really good one. Mega Force, and Planet Patrol. Just to name a few, that would be all the ones on the Atari. So I also like that this one's a little forgiving. Notice that when I get hit, I don't instantly die. I have a little bit of a leeway, which is really nice. All right, let's pick up another artifact. Can we make it to the top though? Oh no, easy. Got it. So when you pick up the artifact, it's almost like you're playing slightly a game of Frogger. It's kind of loose, because you have to make your way back to the top of the screen with it without dying or blowing up. So really, really cool. I like that we get the auto fire, or not auto fire, turbo fire. You have to hold the red button down, but you're shooting automatically. and it does fire really fast. So it's more of dodging the enemies that are on the screen so you don't blow up. Oh, the fish don't kill you. I see. So the jellyfish and the sharks don't kill you. They stun you. But if you hit one of these mines, yeah, that'll kill you. For sure. Sweet. Yeah, so nice looking game. Great shoot 'em up. It's got a good feel to it, control to it for all the games up to this point. Now, bear in mind, just to give you a perspective, this game's cartridge size is the same cartridge size as the basketball game we just played on the Emerson Arcadia 2001. This game is 4 kilopower. The ROM cart is only 4 kilobytes in size. And this one is another video game taking place underwater or aquatic. It's the 41st video game we've seen so far with this setting. And we've seen on the Atari a few things that are like this, like Submarine Commander, and Sea War was on the ZX Spectrum, Sea Fox on the Apple II and the Atari home computer, Deep Six on the Puta, Sea Monster on the Atari 2600 also had the same setting. And then in the arcade we saw Marine Boy. Sea Dragon is another really popular scramble-like game that takes place underwater. Calypso was in the arcade. That is also an underwater game. But if you really want to compare this, I compare it to Neptune on the Apple II because it's an underwater shoot 'em up. Also, Mariner or 800 Fathoms in the arcade may have taken the inspiration or idea from those games. And then Battle of Atlantis that we saw in the arcade. Funky Fish is another one that is a shooter that's underwater, but you also could say Swimmer is another one that's an aquatic underwater game that we saw in the arcade. So the submarine that we're playing as is pretty cool too. This is the 48th time we've seen a video game that we're controlling a submarine or playing a submarine. So this is very, very good, very fun. The only thing bringing this one down, I'd say, is lack of variations, game modes, and it's not really multiplayer. If you play with 2 people, you're going to take turns as if you were in the arcade. It'd be so cool to play a simultaneous scrolling shoot 'em up. We still really haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, so not bad. For the Atari, awesome. For home consoles, it's still pretty good. I'm looking over the chat, and I see a 3.5 from Brian, 3 or 3 stars. So that's thinking mostly average for all the games you could play on all the games on home consoles right now. Bermuda Triangle, I would say starting maybe at 3.5 stars for all the games you could see up to this point. I don't know if I can go as high as 4. Most people are saying 3.5 for everything up to this point. Ooh, Charlie's saying 4, but childhood game. It is good. It is really good. 4 stars would be you're saying everything right now for home consoles would be, this would be an excellent game, a very, very good game. Curtis saying 3.5, Barclay's saying about 3 stars. So yeah, I'm going to say above average, 3.5 stars for all compared to all the other games you could play right now on all other home consoles. There's a lot of home consoles and a lot of games out there. I mean, this is the 185th game on the Atari 2600, but there's a lot of other games on other home consoles that are available right now too. Oh, and if you love shoot 'em ups, scrolling shoot 'em ups too, it's a blast. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks again, everyone, joining me here live for the show. Chronologically Gaming in December 1982. We actually have done it to go this far in time, playing and seeing every single video game, and now we're in December. It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what's next, and thanks so much for joining me on this crazy journey. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we got birds on the color computer, and everybody loves birds in video games. Some more for your Arcadia console, and Atari brings a dangerous game with spiders to the arcade. That's it for today, and like I always say, it's about this time the CFO of Atari told the stakeholders they were in trouble. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.